Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Gloucester Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of March 28th, 2024. This is a meeting being conducted hybrid, which means we're meeting in person, but people also allowed to participate remotely through a Zoom connection. For the record, the Zoom meeting ID is 835-0515-5710. I recognize in attendance myself, Joe Parisi, Catherine Schlichty, Peter Canavo, and on Zoom, Michael Nyman and James Gelati. And I declare we have a quorum. Our first order of business will be the approval of minutes of February 8th and February 29th, which everyone's received. Any corrections or omissions? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion for the minutes on, what was the date?
February 8th and 29th.
February 8th and 29th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Schlichty? Mr. Nyman?
Yes.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes, minutes are approved. Okay, we have several continued hearings tonight, as well as two new hearings. Our first continued hearing is the petition of James and Joyce Finney seeking variances pursuant to 1.7 and 3.2.1 for relief from front setback, side setback, and lot coverage requirements, and a special permit pursuant to 2.3.4 to change, extend, and alter a pre-existing non-conforming single-family home on a non-conforming lot at 10 Stanley Court. Jamie? Place you got to go on the mic, on the podium to the mic.
There's a microphone.
Hello. Okay. Good evening, everybody. How are you? My name is Joyce Finney, and I'm here about the property on 10 Stanley Court in Gloucester, Mass. And we're here on a continuance from our neighbor who has been contacted about okaying the addition that we have going on. So the connection between us and him, we've talked maybe 2 or 3 times. But we've asked them to either write or submit a letter to the board to let them know that we're going for our 3rd continuance. In this letter, and I can present it to you, he asked that, he said that I had not been shown a copy. I was not handed a copy, but I was shown a copy from James Finney. And I told Jamie all along that if the city guidelines, I have no issues, that I've texted to him. But at the same time, I'm interested in the other neighbors, how the other neighbors feel. So with that being said, I went door to door, wrote something little on a piece of paper, and went door to door to all my neighbors that are abutting it and who are wonderful. And so they said, Joyce, Jamie, no problem. Here's our signature, here's our address. And in ending this letter, this gentleman said, if it meets with your approval, the zoning board, if you decide, given our lack of knowledge, the position of other community members, if it meets with your approval, then you have ours. So I'm here just to, hopefully, I don't know, get into continuance or hand this over to you or.
We'll take that into the record. Okay, you're all set, Joyce. This was continued. We were going to have discussion. It was continued for the opportunity to see if this neighbor wanted to reach out and get a fair chance. We've apparently now they've confirmed with a whole list of neighbors here of approval again, it wasn't that we were giving this gentleman veto power. We just were trying to give him an opportunity where he bought the house like right at the application to be able to weigh in. And I think he's adequately weighed in. And any other discussion by the board, or we'll move this forward? Michael? We can't hear you.
I just said no comments for me. I've read the letter from the neighbor.
And for the record, James, I believe you were able to participate. You listened to the hearing, read all the products, I believe, informed
That
the
is
office
correct.
of that.
Yep,
Okay,
I've
so
reviewed
we
all
will
the
be,
information and read the letter.
Okay, so there'll be 5 members participating. Are we ready for a motion?
On the petition to James and Joyce Finney seeking variances pursuant to 1.7 and 321 for relief from front yard setback, side setback, and lot coverage requirements, and a special permit pursuant to 2.3.4 to change, extend, and alter a pre-existing non-conforming single home on a non-conforming lot at 10 Stanley Court. I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve. Roll call vote?
Mr. Nyman,
Yes, for all the relief requested.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes,
Ms. Schlichty,
Yes, for all the relief requested.
Mr. Parisi.
I also vote yes. You've heard our decision's favorable. I will write a decision that you will then be able to go through the appeal period and register that with the Registry of Deeds, and then you'll be able to build. Okay. Our next continued hearing is the petition of Elizabeth Akeley seeking a variance pursuant to 1.7 and 3.2.1 from dimensional requirements for lot frontage at 11 Walker Court. Now, is Thor Akeley here, or is he? He's online. Can we bring him on?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thor, can you give your name and address for the record?
Yep, Thor Akerley from 4 Walker Street in Gloucester.
So I understand you would called or written in asking about a continuance. Is that correct?
That's correct. We did engage in an attorney to help more eloquently and thoroughly explain and explain to the board what we need and help us with that process a little more. So we should be prepared for the next meeting, we hope.
Okay, what I had told you I would do at the last hearing when we continued it was that I would talk to the city solicitor for Gloucester and ask for an opinion on what we can and can't do or how we would go about it. And just, I'm going to read you that for the record so you'll know, and then whether when you talk to your attorney, you still want a continuance, that's fine. They'll advise you on your options, I'm sure. But this is the advice we were given, the legal decision. It says, attached, please find 2 cases in the short excerpt from a legal article confirming that a variance is not available for lots that lack frontage. A variance is only granted when a hardship exists due to soil, shape, or topography of the lot. The lack of frontage does not relate to the soil, shape, or topography of the lot. There are 2 cases attached supporting that position. In my opinion, the variances should be denied. The applicant would not prevail in court on an appeal of the denial. It is well-settled law that a variance is not justified for this type of law. And I'll make this available to you, and you can talk to your attorney. If they advise you as such, you could come back, we could turn you down based on the advice we're getting, and then you could appeal it, and maybe you'll make case law. But I think you want to talk to your attorney in more detail first. With that said, I would entertain a motion. Would you want 30 days or 2 weeks?
2 weeks would be good for now.
Entertain a motion to continue this case for 2 weeks to unprepared. What is the date?
The 11th? Make a,
April 11th.
make a motion of continuance on petition of Elizabeth B. Akeley on 11 Walker Court to April 11th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote on continuance.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Ms. Schlichty,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. So we are continued to the 11th. I will, we have your email, so I will get you what we were told, so you'll have that. Send
Thank
that
you
out
very
to
much.
Okay. Our next continued hearing is the petition of Sleepy Dog Property seeking a special permit to alter or expand a nonconforming residence on a nonconforming lot and variances pursuant to 3.2.1 for lot coverage and rear setbacks. We also received contact from this group requesting a continuance to work with the neighbors some more. So are they on?
Hey, Joe, just a reminder too, I'm pretty sure he does not need a rear yard variance. Special permit's all he needs.
Hello, sorry about the delay. This is Derek Tyler, with Sleeping Dog Properties. Address is 144 Weld Street, West Roxbury, Mass. I am requesting additional continuance. We do need a little bit more time to get in contact with all the abutters. The people that we've spoke with so far have had glowing reviews with no concerns, but I haven't been able to bring form letters to the board. So I'm requesting a 30-day continuance to be able to give us enough time to follow up with the paperwork requested.
Great, 30-day, that will be the 25th of April.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to continue.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Petitioner Sleeping Dog, motion to continue, Sleeping Dog Properties seeking a special permit to alter, expand a non-conforming residence, non-conforming lot pursuant to 1.9 and variances pursuant to 1.7, 3.2 for lot coverage. I don't believe you need a rear setback variance. 9 Bale Lane. I move continuance to our April 25th meeting.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote to continue.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Ms. Schlichty,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Heard it. Will continue to the 25th.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, our next continued hearings, the petition of Seaside Legal Solutions seeking a special permit to construct a new 3-family dwelling pursuant to 2.3.1 subsection 6, a special permit for a lesser number of parking street spaces, a special permit authorizing an increase in building height up to 30 foot. No, we're not going to have the height. That one's out. And a variance pursuant to 3.2.1 from dimensional requirements for left side setback at 118 Eastern Avenue. This hearing was continued for the purpose of giving members an opportunity to go out for another site visit. We had requested that the parking spaces at 118 be staked out so that we could get a true picture of what it would be like backing out of the neighbor's driveway. That was completed quickly, thank you, and I know most of the members went out and got to see that. So any discussion by the board before we move on?
Just a comment.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just went there I have a pretty good sized truck, 1500 Silverado, fairly long, no issues whatsoever. Even with that long truck, I could easily see up Eastern Avenue from where that parking is going to be. No obstruction there at all.
Yeah, I agree. I went out there, I pulled in 3-4 times. I just wanted to make sure it had a clear path. I got my measuring tape and just to read the sticks, everything looked pretty good. So that was my only concern. Other than that, I think the project's pretty good.
Okay, any other comments? Are we ready for a motion? Michael, can you make this?
Yes. Move approval of Seaside Legal Solutions seeking special permit to construct a new 3-family dwelling pursuant to 1.8 and 2.3.1, parentheses 6. Special permit to allow a lesser number of off-street parking spaces pursuant to 1.1 and 4.1.2. And a special permit authorizing an increase, no building increase. And the variance pursuant to 1.7, 3.2.1 for dimensional requirements for left side setback at 118 Eastern Avenue. I would move approval for all of the relief requested as outlined in our previous hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes, for all the relief requested.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes, for all the relief requested.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes.
Oh, did I hit Catherine?
No, she
Wasn't
wasn't
here.
here. You've heard our decision's favorable. We appreciate a draft decision that we can adopt. Thank you. Okay, our first new application is the petition of Lynn M. Parisi seeking a determination 2.4.4 that a special permit is not required to alter, expand a pre-existing non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot, and a special permit under 1.9, 2.3.1 subsection 3 to convert a single-family home to a two-family home with changes to the exterior dimensions of the building, 19 Mondale Square. Plaza?
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. For the record, my name is Joel Favaza. I am an attorney at Seaside Legal Solutions with an address of 123 Main Street here in Gloucester. I'm here on behalf of Lynn Parisi, the property owner. Her son is here tonight, and he is will be one of the primary beneficiaries of the relief we're asking tonight to be granted. So the, excuse me, the project itself, is my screen sharing?
Yes.
Okay. That's perfect. So the project itself is to add a second residential unit. So it'll go from a single family to a two-family. As you know, in Gloucester, you're not allowed to have two standalone single-family dwellings on a lot, but you can connect them with a corridor that's no more than 3-to-1 ratio of length to width, and then it becomes one building and therefore is a two-family. And so that's what we're doing here. We're going to add a mudroom onto the footprint of the proposed new house, and then a breezeway to connect into the existing house. By way of background, we are in the R10 district. That is the medium high density residential district. The lot is non-conforming despite its size. It is at the end of Mondello Square, and when you're at the end of a road, you don't really have frontage along the end of that road, and even if you did, it's so narrow that it doesn't qualify for sufficient frontage. There's also, it says garage, there's an existing shed that encroaches into the right side yard, and the house itself pokes into the front yard setback. And again, the front yard setback was basically, we had to kind of pick what we call the front yard. We called the front yard, as you look at it, the line that kind of cuts across Mondello, because that's the part of the lot that intercepts Mondello Square. And so the idea is that Lynn has moved into, or Lynn would move into the house she just purchased, and then her son and her daughter-in-law and her grandchildren would live in the unit that's going to be built on the yard currently. And so as the chair mentioned, we need two pieces of relief. One is a change in use special permit to convert from a single to a two-family with exterior changes. And the second would be a determination that there's no increase to the pre-existing non-conforming nature, or if you find that there is an increase to the non-conforming nature, we would need a special permit to alter and expand. Again, we have all the plans in place. We need to go back to them. This is the site plan. We have all the elevations. We sent you guys these plans, which show things kind of with perspective on them. And then we also had plans that showed more of a straight shot. And we had some 3D renderings also to try and really make you understand how these two buildings will relate to each other. Here's the GIS map, and here's the satellite image put on top of it. As you can see, as compared to the rest of the neighborhood around this, this is about 2 or 3 lots worth of space in that area. This is the existing house. And we're going to go into the change in use special permit first. So you have to make the finding that the change in use will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the GZO. It's not going to adversely affect the neighborhood as to outweigh that benefit, and it's going to pass that 7-factor test that we have. So per usual, when we're adding a dwelling unit that's appropriate, we are going to add an additional unit of housing to the city's stock. It also will allow a longtime Gloucester resident who's trying to age in place with her family to continue to be able to live somewhat on her own well into her retirement and older age. It also allows a young family to figure out how to afford to stay in Gloucester while raising a young family. So it's a nice little overall solution for both sides of the spectrum. Traffic flow and safety. The road's a dead-end road. This is going to add a couple more cars at the end, but again, the buck stops here at the end of this property, and this will kind of lock up the rest of the development potential of this property. Adequacy of utilities. The utilities are already on the street. This is, again, is a densely developed residential area. I think the gas service might be the only new service being brought in, and that's already in the street, and then it'll have to get brought in across the property when they go to put the second dwelling unit on. Neighborhood character. There are multiple multi-families in the neighborhood. The neighborhood actually abuts the R5, which is the plain old high-density residential district in the rear. And as you saw from the aerial photos, that area is more than large enough to accommodate a second dwelling unit without detracting from the neighborhood character. Qualities of the natural environment. There's going to be some loss of existing greenery. It's not going to exceed the lot coverage. And again, it's a highly developed neighborhood. It's not going to like a forest or a preserve is going to come down. It's just going to be some lost grass, basically. Fiscal impact's good for everybody. There's going to be additional tax revenue for the city. This is new growth tax revenue. You can only get that by adding new units or adding new construction, and obviously additional value for the owner. And then there is no vulnerability to flooding or flood damage. We are outside of the flood zone. And so again, this is just the shot to really give you the perspective as to how much space they have, and they're just looking to put another dwelling unit on that big lot. So this is, if you're standing at the end of the road, you can kind of see where the pavement breaks. That's where Mondello ends and where the driveway begins, basically. And as you look straight forward in this picture toward the house in the background, the house you see in the background to the left of the yellow house will kind of be covered, and the yellow house will be partially obstructed, maybe fully obstructed when the new house is up, but it's kind of sitting in that area. And again, this is another slightly different perspective. So you can see the left side of the existing house. That's where things will attach. You see the cars parked in front of the existing garage for the existing house. And the connector will be kind of behind those cars heading off into that grassy area. And then the last thing here is neighborhood support. And I think I may have done this slide twice, so you might see it come up again. So this shows the neighbors who have either written in support or have discussed with the owner and provided their support. I actually have 3 of those in writing. I'm sorry I didn't get them to you ahead of time. I hadn't warned my client that we had an early deadline for submissions. To the degree you'd like to accept those into the record, I'd appreciate it. But they have done neighborhood outreach and they have not received any pushback. Obviously, with public hearings, we'll see if there's anybody coming out of the woodworks tonight. But so far, there hasn't been an issue. And so if you can get through the special permit for the use, then it's just that determination. So again, when you look at this, you go, what are the nonconformities? You have inadequate frontage. You have an encroachment into the front yard and encroachment into the side yard with the existing house. And the shed's also in the existing, is encroaching in the side yard. And so what happens afterward? Well, the frontage doesn't change. It's just as good or bad as it ever was. The house, the main house, isn't going to move. The front yard and side yard penetrations aren't going to change. And the shed's going to be removed. So one of the 4 nonconformities will be eliminated. The rest are going to be left the same because the existing house is being left the same. So I think you're able to make a pretty easy determination that there is no increase to the pre-existing nonconformities because we're not touching that part of the house at all. But obviously, if you didn't make such a finding, you would hopefully be able to make a finding that whatever increase you detected would not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Again, numerically and physically, there's no change to the side and front yard setback penetrations. Those faces of the house are not going to be altered. It's not getting any taller, not getting any wider. You know, it might not even get painted. We don't know, right? So I don't think there is any increase, but if there is, it's certainly not going to damage the neighborhood in some substantial way. And there's just another map showing the neighbors in support. I did a slide twice. And so back to the relief requested, again, it's just it's one special permit for use, a determination, or if you don't make the determination that I need a special permit to alter and expand, but I think you can make the determination that we don't even need a special permit on that alter expansion. So thank you per usual. I'll end my sharing, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions of by the board right now? Okay, we'll go to public testimony. Is there anyone in the audience or online in the Zoom that would like to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in favor? If you're in the hall, please come forward to the podium. If you're online, you raise your hand on your device and we'll recognize you. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none. For anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Any opposition? Again, come forward or raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. No need for rebuttal. Discussion by the board? Let's
Yeah, will
touch
you-
on- Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we'll use this, Michael Nyman, will you split these in half, deal with the alter and expand first to determine and then move to the second one? How do you want to do it?
Yes, yeah, I wanted to make the determination first.
Okay.
So we can discuss that.
Yeah, I don't think he needs a special permit personally. I don't think there's any increase in any nonconformities, and there is an elimination of one of them, like he said.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think a special permit is needed. That he's not intensifying any nonconformities. So, it's a very unusual lot and very unusual project, but, there's no impact on the existing nonconforming structure. That the connector is within the setbacks, the house itself is in the setback, so I don't see a need for a special permit to alter or expand.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to determine that there is not an increase in non-conforming use.
So I would make a motion, however we say this, I would make a motion that he does not need a special permit to alter and expand because there is no increase in the existing nonconformities. So I would move that he simply needs a letter.
Second, the motion that there's no intensification of the nonconformities.
Okay, so we'll have a roll call vote. A yes agrees that there's no increase in non-conformity.
Ms. Schlichty,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes,
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
I also vote yes. Now on to the special permit to convert a single-family home to a two-family home with changes to the exterior under 2.3.13. Any discussion, or are we ready for a motion?
I think it's a positive project. I mean, you have a big lot in a neighborhood of small lots. You're easily fitting a second dwelling unit on there without overcrowding the lot, without having an adverse effect on the neighborhood, without having a, adverse effect on traffic flow or safety. I mean, there's obviously plenty of parking off-street, so I think it would justify a special permit for a two-family with exterior structures. I mean, the quarter thing is weird that you have to do it, but it's just the way our zoning ordinance is written. I don't even know what you do with that space. bowling alley for the kids, just, that's the way our ordinance is, so,
That was a preventive measure in the zoning.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate we can't just let him build another house.
Okay, and we have a motion?
On the petition of Lynn, on the petition of Lynn Parisi seeking a special permit to convert a single-family home to a two-family home with changes to the exterior dimensions at 19 Mondello Square. I think the applicant has met all the standards for this, and I would move approval of the special permit.
Second,
We have a motion made and seconded to approve a special permit. Roll call vote.
Ms. Schlichty,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
yes.
Mr. Nava,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
I also vote yes. You've heard our decisions favorable. We appreciate a draft decision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last hearing of the evening is the petition of Ryan McSherra seeking a determination under 2.4.4 that a special permit is not required to alter or expand a pre-existing non-conforming structure, or in the alternative, a special permit under 2.4.3 to alter or expand a pre-existing non-conforming structure at 59 Wingashiek Road. And is it representing? Ryan?
I know. There we go.
On? Better? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ryan McSherra from Red Barn Architecture, 8 to 10 Martin Street in Essex, Massachusetts. I'm the architect on the project here representing Lori Landrigan and her petition to expand an non-conforming building on a conforming lot. So the building is non-conforming on the right side setback. It encroaches into the setback on that side. We are in the R20 district here, and we are simply proposing to build a second story on top of a single story building. We're not expanding the footprint within the setback or anything else. So would be happy to walk through any questions the board might have about the project or discuss any of the particulars.
Questions by the board at this point?
I think, and Catherine, maybe you can correct me, but my memory is that when we add a second floor, when we increase the volume outside of the setbacks, that we typically think they need a special permit, I think is how we've done it.
Well, it's a intensification of the amount of structure that's
Yep.
in setback.
We've typically interpreted that even though they're not extending, the nonconformity any further, the volume is sort of exacerbating the nonconformity. Yeah.
Yeah, more mass there, yeah.
So would you, for discussion amongst us? So the addition is a second floor, and the part that's being expanded up is not in the setbacks. that
It is
change
in the
everyone's
setbacks.
thought?
It does.
It is in the setbacks.
That little doggy is not, oh, you're talking on the right?
Oh, it's on the right side. isn't
Other
it?
side of the property.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I would agree.
I was so
if it
focused on the
wasn't.
bump out not being part of the addition. But
No,
yeah, I
he
see
said
what you're
right
saying.
side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's this
I
little,
would agree.
this little strip right here on the site plan.
If it was the bump out only part and then that,
Then I
I
would
would agree
be-
that
yeah.
would not be an intensification. However, is it substantially more detrimental than?
No,
the
of course not. Yeah.
Well,
nonconformity?
let's let the public have a say
Yeah.
before we decide that. Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. And we will take public testimony. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of the application? Please come forward. Or if you're online, raise your hand on your device. Anyone in favor? We have Laura. She might be
I think
related to
that's
the
the
owner.
applicant.
Oh, we know. Laura, can you hear us?
Did you bring her in? She's trying, it's like this technical.
Hey, Laura, you should be in there. You're muted. We could get your name and address for the record.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes. I need your name and
Okay.
address first.
My 59 Wingersheek Road, Gloucester. Laura Landrigan.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You wish to speak in favor?
Yes, I wish to speak in favor.
Go ahead.
I am, the purpose of the second story is to accommodate my elderly mother who's going to be living with us. And that is the purpose of the putting the second story, because the house is rather small now. And in order to accommodate my mother and any other medical help that she might need, we've determined that we have to put a second story on the house.
Not gonna make
And
her
so,
climb the stairs, are you?
no, she's gonna be, no, she'll be on the first floor.
That's better. All righty, thank you. Anyone
Thank
else
you.
wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Any opposition? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Be no need for rebuttal. And discussion by the board, are we ready for a motion?
So I just, for my educational purpose, so, because the last one, we found it that it didn't need a special permit for increasing nonconformity.
Because the part that was non-conforming wasn't getting any bigger.
Right,
So it wasn't being intensified.
okay,
In this
All right.
case, the main house is non-conforming, and putting a second floor intensifies the
I
non-conforming.
got you.
So that's
Thank you.
why we're gonna do a special
Yeah,
permit.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. I got it now. Thank you.
Good question.
Any further discussion, or have a motion?
You ready for the motion? On the petition of 59 Wingersheek Road Realty Trust, seeking a special permit under 2.4.3 to alter, expand the pre-existing non-conforming structure at 59 Wingersheek Road. I would move approval of the special permit, for the reasons stated, that while it intensifies the nonconformity, it is not more detrimental than the existing nonconformity.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
yes.
Mr. Canava,
Yes.
Ms. Schlichty,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Heard our decision's favorable. You don't have legal advice, counsel. Okay, so we'll have to draft a decision.
Yeah, right, I'll do it.
Well, he
There
wants
you-
to build it this year. Okay, Catherine will
All
write
right,
the
don't
decision.
worry. I'll get right on it. I'm gonna
Okay,
let
that was the
Dylan
last
try
of our
to-
hearings. Some discussion. The mayor has officially appointed Ron to the board to be as an alternate. He's got a temporary appointment, and we'll get an official appointment. He still has to be sworn in.
Congratulations, Ron.
There's been interviewing some others so that we can get a second alternate. And they've gone through some, and it isn't a fit for everybody once they learn more about it. So still working on trying to fill that. The packets, for those that were here, get your packets. The rest you'll have to get them off. Well, Mike, you could go down the office. James, you'll have to get it off the internet. How long you gonna be away, James?
Till it
May
warms up here.
15th. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Exactly, Catherine.
All righty. Any
Nothing
other
but rain here,
discussion?
James.
Hey, Joe, yeah, I may have to miss the May 9th meeting. I have a full day down in Foxborough, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get back. I'm gonna have a supper and stuff like that. I'm not sure I can get back
Second May, not April, right? May 9th?
May 9th.
Okay.
Ah.
Yep, no problem.
Time away.
Anything
yeah,
else?
man.
Questions, discussion?
No, thank you. Wow.
Nice to have an alternate.
We got an early evening. Yeah, welcome aboard, Ron.
Yeah, congratulations.
We just told them tonight we don't get paid.
Um,
That being
I'm
said, I'll
shocked.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
Made and seconded, roll call vote required.
Lisa for me.
Mr.
Thank
Nyman,
you.
Yes.
Ms. Schlichty, Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night, everyone.
See you later.
Take care, James.